Eagles Nation, honestly, I'm still trying to wrap my head around what happened on Thursday night. It was surreal. We watched a team that just didn't look like the Philadelphia Eagles. No soul, no answers, none of that fire that's always made us believe. If you felt that same mix of shock, anger, and disbelief, then this video is for you. Hit that like button to support the channel, because this is where the fans speak for real, with passion, with emotion, and with the pain of living every single snap right alongside this team. The Philadelphia Eagles didn't just lose on Thursday night, they got humiliated. There's no other way to put it. A 34-17 loss to a Giants team that was rebuilding, starting a rookie quarterback, and coming off one of the ugliest games of their season is the kind of defeat that forces you to question everything about this team's identity. Because what we watched at MetLife Stadium wasn't just a loss, it was a total collapse. The Eagles were supposed to be the bullies, the tone setters, the team that won games in the trenches, but instead, they got shoved around by a group that had no business out-muscling them. This wasn't the 2023 Eagles, the one that took your will, the one that crushed opponents over 4 quarters like a boa constrictor. This was something different. This was soft. You look at the numbers, and they tell the story just as brutally as the tape. The Giants, with a rookie quarterback in Jackson Dart, converted 11 of 16 third downs. They ran for 172 yards. They didn't turn the ball over once. The Eagles, 1 of 9 on third down, only 73 rushing yards, 3 sacks allowed, 2 turnovers, and no identity. They didn't look like a collective, and that's one of Jalen Hurts' favorite words, isn't it? Collective. But there was nothing united about what we saw in New York. Jackson Dart looked calm, composed, and confident. 17 of 25, 195 yards, and a touchdown. Cam Skattebo looked like a prime Marshawn Lynch out there, running through Eagles defenders like they were made of paper, finishing with 98 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Wan'Dale Robinson? He tore apart the secondary with 84 receiving yards on just 6 catches. The G-men weren't just better, they were tougher, sharper, and hungrier. And that's the part that burns the most, because this Eagles team was built to dominate physically. That was supposed to be their DNA. But Thursday night, it looked like they didn't want the fight. They played timid, out-coached, out-hustled, out-executed. Nick Sirianni, who has never been a scheme genius, depends on his players to do the fundamentals right, to play disciplined, smart, and physical football. They did none of that.
Cam Skattebo smelled weakness and ran straight into it. The Eagles' defense looked scared of tackling again. Flashbacks to 2023 when this same group crumbled late in the season. The third down defense was a disaster. The offense sputtered again in the second half, and Jalen Hurts, man, he looked lost. Hurts has earned respect in this city. He's tough, accountable, and has led this team to the biggest stages in football. But Thursday night was indefensible. He missed throws that he simply can't miss, including what should have been an 89-yard touchdown to DeVonta Smith. No defender within 7 yards, wide open grass in front of him, and Hurts overthrows him by a mile. Instead of a touchdown, it's a punt. Instead of momentum, the Giants take over and score. Those are the kinds of swings that decide games and seasons. Even when Hurts had clean pockets, his decision-making looked hesitant. One of the biggest plays that turned the game came late in the red zone, the interception to Cordell Flott. Giants showed an all-out blitz. Hurts had a clean read with single-high safety coverage. A.J. Brown was one-on-one with no help over the top, the read every quarterback is taught to make. Hurts saw it, hesitated, and threw the ball inside to DeVonta Smith instead of outside to A.J. It was picked off and nearly returned for 6. That's not just a bad throw. That's a quarterback who's second-guessing himself. And when a quarterback as confident as Hurts starts doubting his instincts, that's when you know something deeper is wrong. Whether it's play calling, scheme, or simply rhythm, this offense looks broken. Kevin Patullo's offense has become painfully predictable. Defenses know what's coming based on formation and alignment. There's no creativity, no RPOs, no motion to manipulate defenders, no screens to slow down pressure. It's just static football. Easy to read, easy to stop. The result? A team that can't finish drives, can't execute under pressure, and can't seem to find any rhythm after halftime. Just look at their recent second-half drives. Fumble, interception, 3-and-outs, punts, over and over. It's the same movie playing on repeat, and everyone in Philadelphia is sick of watching it. Lane Johnson said after the game, "We're just not very good right now." And as blunt as that sounds, it's true. The offensive line hasn't been dominant. The run game's disappeared. The defense has lost its edge, and the discipline that once defined this team is nowhere to be found. Nick Sirianni always preaches the importance of perfecting things that take no talent, hustle, effort, tackling, focus. Right now, the Eagles are failing at all of them. What makes this even more concerning is the timing. The NFC East was supposed to be the Eagles to lose. A few weeks ago, they were 4-0, looking ready to repeat as division champs. Now they're 4-2, slipping fast, with Dallas surging, Washington improving under Jaden Daniels, and even the Giants looking rejuvenated. The margin for error is gone. This was supposed to be the get-right game, the one that fixed everything. Instead, it exposed every flaw. From top to bottom, the Eagles looked unprepared, uninspired, and uncertain of who they are. A Super Bowl team 1 year ago now looks like a group searching for direction. And with the Vikings up next, Carson Wentz waiting for revenge, Justin Jefferson ready to torch this struggling secondary, and Brian Flores dialing up pressure, it doesn't get any easier from here. So the question is, how did we get here? How did one of the NFL's toughest, most complete teams become so fragile, so predictable, and so lost in such a short time? Because if this isn't just a slump, then the Philadelphia Eagles are staring straight down the barrel of a crisis. You can feel it, the tension building in the locker room, the frustration on the sidelines, the disbelief among fans who can't understand how a Super Bowl champion could look this unrecognizable just months later. This isn't about one bad night in New Jersey. It's about patterns. It's about a football team that's been slowly unraveling, one missed tackle, one drop ball, and one mental mistake at a time. Let's start with the man in charge, Nick Sirianni. He's built his reputation not as a mastermind play designer, but as a motivator, a culture guy. His energy and accountability have always been his greatest weapons. But now, that spark feels dim. Where's the fire? Where's the edge? This team once mirrored his emotion and passion, but against the Giants, they looked flat, robotic, detached. Sirianni's post-game comments said it all, a mix of confusion and frustration without real solutions. That's not what you want to hear from the man steering the ship. And then there's Kevin Patullo. His play calling has become the anchor dragging this offense to the bottom. Too predictable, too static, too uninspired. Defenses know what's coming. Shotgun formation, same motion, same reads, same route concepts. The creativity that made this offense lethal in 2022 has evaporated. There are no adjustments, no layers to the passing game. And when Jalen Hurts is asked to read through multiple progressions, everything slows down. Opponents are baiting him into mistakes, sitting on his first read, and collapsing the pocket before he can even react. When you pair that with the offensive line, which used to be the gold standard of the NFL, suddenly looking shaky, it's a recipe for disaster. Lane Johnson, Jason Kelce, Jordan Mailata, these are supposed to be tone setters. But lately, they've looked human. The protection has broken down, the communication has been sloppy, and the push in the run game just isn't there. When the offensive line starts losing one-on-one battles, it's not just physical, it's psychological. It sends a message that the foundation is cracking. The defense hasn't been any better. Cam Scatterbo ran through this unit like it was a college scrimmage. The tackling? Atrocious. The gap integrity? Non-existent. The secondary? Lost. Khalil Ringo and Adoree Jackson looked like they'd never practiced together, constantly out of position, letting receivers run free. It was chaos. And when your defensive front, the same one that was once feared across the league, can't generate consistent pressure on a rookie quarterback, you've got a major problem. This is where the concern grows deeper, because these aren't just fixable schematic issues. This is effort. This is pride. The Eagles were supposed to be the team that imposed its will, the one that made opponents quit by the fourth quarter. But right now, they're the ones breaking. The physicality that once defined them has vanished. And yet, despite all of this, there's still a glimmer of hope, because the talent is still there. The leadership is still there. The DNA that made this team great hasn't disappeared. It's just buried under mistakes and misdirection. Lane Johnson said it best. We're not very good right now. But that's an admission, not a surrender. It's an acknowledgement that something has to change fast. The question is, will they do it? Because we've seen this story before. Last year, after the brutal loss to Tampa Bay, the Eagles had a bye week and came out looking like a different team. They rediscovered who they were, they leaned on the run, and they fought their way back into rhythm. That team had resilience. But this year feels different. There's less confidence, less chemistry, and less identity. Jalen Hurts has to take accountability too. He said all the right things, but now it's about doing the right things. Making quicker reads, trusting his receivers, playing free again. Hurts has always been at his best when he plays with instinct and confidence, when he's not overthinking every snap. But right now, it feels like he's trying to play perfect football in a system that doesn't fit him. And that's on both him and his coaches to fix. Meanwhile, the city of Philadelphia is watching and waiting. You can feel the pulse of the fan base right now, beating between anger and disbelief. In this city, passion cuts both ways. When you win, you're immortal. When you lose like this, every flaw gets magnified under the brightest lights in sports. You hear it on WIP, you see it at the link, you feel it in every conversation at a corner store. The fans care deeply. And that's what makes this stretch so defining. Because this team has two choices: fold or fight back. They can let this season spiral into disappointment, or they can do what the great Eagles teams of the past have done: use the doubt, the noise, and the pain as fuel. The road ahead is brutal. Minnesota, Dallas, Washington, and San Francisco all looming. There's no breathing room, but maybe that's exactly what they need. Pressure can crush you, or it can forge you. And if there's one thing this city demands, it's fight. The kind of fight that turns frustration into fire. The kind of fight that reminds everyone why Philadelphia bleeds green. The question is, do these Eagles still have that in them? If you believe they can turn it around, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let's talk about it in the comments. Do you still believe in this team? Or are you starting to think that last year's magic might be gone for good? Either way, we'll be right here, breaking it down every step of the way. See you in the next video. Meanwhile, the city of Philadelphia is watching and waiting. You can feel the pulse of the fan base right now, beating between anger and disbelief. In this city, passion cuts both ways. When you win, you're immortal. When you lose like this, every flaw gets magnified under the brightest lights in sports. You hear it on WIP, you see it at the link, you feel it in every conversation at a corner store. The fans care deeply. And that's what makes this stretch so defining. Because this team has two choices: fold or fight back.